Subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon, to never miss a video from us. Hi everyone, welcome to Test Prep Training. In this video you will learn about some commonly asked questions in Google Cloud Certified, Professional Data Engineer. So let's get started. Number 1, your company built a TensorFlow neutral network model, with a large number of neurons and layers. The model fits well for the training data. However, when tested against new data, it performs poorly. What method can you employ to address this? Your options are A. Threading, B. Serialization, C. Dropout methods, D. Dimensionality reduction. The correct answer is option C. You are building a model to make clothing recommendations. You know a user's fashion preference is likely to change over time, so you build a data pipeline to stream new data back to the model as it becomes available. How should you use this data to train the model? Your options are A. Continuously retrain the model on just the new data, B. Continuously retrain the model on a combination of existing data and the new data, C. Train on the existing data while using the new data as your test set, D. Train on the new data while using the existing data as your test set. The correct answer is option B. Designed a database for patient records as a pilot project to cover a few hundred patients in 3 clinics. Your design used a single database table to represent all patients and their visits, and you used self-joins to generate reports. The server resource utilization was at 50%. Since then, the scope of the project has expanded. The database must now store 100 times more patient records. You can no longer run the reports, because they either take too long or they encounter errors, with insufficient compute resources. How should you adjust the database design? Your options are A. Add capacity to the database server by the order of 200. B. Shard the tables into smaller ones based on date ranges, and only generate reports with pre-specified date ranges. C. Normalize the master patient record table into the patient table and the visits table, and create other necessary tables to avoid self-join. D. Partition the table into smaller tables, with one for each clinic. Run queries against the smaller table pairs, and use unions for consolidated reports. The correct answer is option C. Create an important report for your large team in Google Data Studio 360. The report uses Google BigQuery as its data source. You notice that visualizations are not showing data that is less than 1 hour old. What should you do? Your options are A. Disable caching by editing the report settings, B. Disable caching in BigQuery by editing table details, C. Refresh your browser tab showing the visualizations, D. Clear your browser history for the past hour, then reload the tab showing the virtualizations. The correct answer is option A. An external customer provides you with a daily dump of data from their database. The data flows into Google Cloud Storage (GCS) as comma-separated values files. You want to analyze this data in Google BigQuery, but the data could have rows that are formatted incorrectly or corrupted. How should you build this pipeline? Your options are A. Use federated data sources, and check data in the SQL query. B. Enable BigQuery monitoring in Google Stack Driver and create an alert. C. Import the data into BigQuery using the Cloud CLI and set the following to 0. D. Run a Google Cloud Dataflow batch pipeline to import the data into BigQuery, and push errors to another dead letter table for analysis. The correct answer is option D. Your weather app queries a database every 15 minutes to get the current temperature. The front end is powered by Google App Engine, and serve millions of users. How should you design the front end to respond to a database failure? Your options are A. Issue a command to restart the database servers, B. Retry the query with exponential backoff, up to a cap of 15 minutes, C. Retry the query every second, until it comes back online to minimize staleness of data, D. Reduce the query frequency to once every hour, until the database comes back online. The correct answer is option B. You are creating a model to predict housing prices. Due to budget constraints, you must run it on a single resource-constrained virtual machine. Which learning algorithm should you use? Your options are A. Linear regression, B. Logistic classification, C. Recurrent neural network, D. Feed-forward neural network. The correct answer is option A. Are building new real-time data warehouse for your company, and will use Google BigQuery streaming inserts. There is no guarantee that data will only be sent in once, but you do have a unique ID for each row of data and an event timestamp. You want to ensure that duplicates are not included while interactively querying data. Which query type should you use? Your options are A. Include order by desk on timestamp column and limit to 1. B. Use group by on the unique ID column and timestamp column, and sum on the values. C. Use the lag window function with partition by unique ID, along with where lag is not null. D. Use the row number window function with partition by unique ID, along with where row equals 1. The correct answer is option D. Your company is in a highly regulated industry. One of your requirements is to ensure individual users have access only to the minimum amount of information required to do their jobs. You want to enforce this requirement with Google BigQuery. Which 3 approaches can you take? Choose 3. Your options are A. Disable writes to certain tables, B. Restrict access to tables by role, C. Ensure that the data is encrypted at all times, D. Restrict BigQuery API access to approved users, E. Segregate data across multiple tables or databases, F. Use Google Stackdriver audit logging to determine policy violations. The correct answers are option B, D, and F. Your company handles data processing for a number of different clients. Each client prefers to use their own suite of analytics tools, with some allowing direct query access via Google BigQuery. You need to secure the data so that clients cannot see each other's data. You want to ensure appropriate access to the data. Which 3 steps should you take? Choose 3. Your options are A. Load data into different partitions, B. Load data into a different dataset for each client, C. Put each client's BigQuery dataset into a different table, D. Restrict a client's dataset to approved users, E. Only allow a service account to access the datasets, F. Use the appropriate identity and access management roles for each client's users. The correct answers are option B, D, and F. You want to process payment transactions in a point-of-sale application that will run on Google Cloud Platform. Your user base could grow exponentially, but you do not want to manage infrastructure scaling. Which Google database service should you use? Your options are A. Cloud SQL, B. BigQuery, C. Cloud Bigtable, D. Cloud Data Store. The correct answer is option A. You want to use a database of information about tissue samples to classify future tissue samples as either normal or mutated. You are evaluating an unsupervised anomaly detection method for classifying the tissue samples. Which 2 characteristics support this method? Choose 2. Your options are A. There are very few occurrences of mutations relative to normal samples. B. There are roughly equal occurrences of both normal and mutated samples in the database. C. You expect future mutations to have different features from the mutated samples in the database. D. You expect future mutations to have similar features to the mutated samples in the database. E. You already have labels for which samples are mutated and which are normal in the database. The correct answers are option B and C. Your startup has never implemented a formal security policy. Currently, everyone in the company has access to the datasets stored in Google BigQuery. Teams have freedom to use the service as they see fit, and they have not documented their use cases. You have been asked to secure the data warehouse. You need to discover what everyone is doing. What should you do first? Your options are A. Use Google Stackdriver audit logs to review data access. B. Get the identity and access management policy of each table. C. Use Stackdriver monitoring to see the usage of BigQuery query slots. D. Use the Google Cloud Billing API to see what account the warehouse is being billed to. The correct answer is option A. Your company is migrating their 30-node Apache Hadoop cluster to the cloud. They want to reuse Hadoop jobs they have already created, and minimize the management of the cluster as much as possible. They also want to be able to persist data beyond the life of the cluster. What should you do? Your options are: A. Create a Google Cloud Dataflow job to process the data. B. Create a Google Cloud Dataproc cluster that uses persistent disks for HDFS. C. Create a Hadoop cluster on Google Compute Engine that uses persistent disks. D. Create a Cloud Dataproc cluster that uses the Google Cloud Storage connector. E. Create a Hadoop cluster on Google Compute Engine that uses local SSD disks. The correct answer is option D. Your company's on-premises Apache Hadoop servers are approaching end of life, and IT has decided to migrate the cluster to Google Cloud Dataproc. A like-for-like migration of the cluster would require 50 terabytes of Google persistent disk per node. The CIO is concerned about the cost of using that much block storage. You want to minimize the storage cost of the migration. What should you do? Your options are: A. Put the data into Google Cloud Storage. B. Use preemptible virtual machines for the Cloud Dataproc cluster. C. Tune the Cloud Dataproc cluster so that there is just enough disk for all data. D. Migrate some of the cold data into Google Cloud Storage, and keep only the hot data in persistent disk. The correct answer is option A. For more such videos, subscribe to our channel.